Hey dorks, just a quick message reminding you to head over to twitch.tv/mindgappodcast and give us a follow. We live stream when we record our new podcast episodes, and we're live streaming video game sessions on Saturday nights at 8 o'clock p.m. Central Time. We're playing super rad stuff like Among Us, Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes, Jackbox games, and Tabletop Simulator. Come hang out and play along with us. That's twitch.tv/mindgappodcast.
Mind Gap Podcast.
Hey y'all, welcome to Mind Gap Podcast. I'm Doug.
I'm Justin.
Woo! And this week we ain't got a guest except you, the listener, and you on Twitch. You're our guest. So welcome to the show. Skew!
Yeah, welcome, guys. I'm so used to, I think this is the first time in, 2-3 months that we haven't had a guest?
I think it's the first time in 8 or 9 weeks that we haven't had a guest.
Shit, yeah, so 2 solid months.
Maybe even be longer, a little bit longer than that. It's been several episodes.
Just the patter is different when you don't have to introduce a guest.
Right?
Yeah.
This is a great cold open. Thank you. I appreciate that, Slotty. Yeah, man, it's been great. These guests have been awesome. It's always, fun having that. And I gotta admit, it's also kind of nice just to be you and me tonight, buddy.
It feels like we're hitting the reset button and just be like, all right, we've had, actually, no, I take it back. We have had, because we had 8 quarantine file guests. We had Omari, then we had Adam. So that's 10. So we've almost had 3 full months of guests.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't even know what we did before we went on this big run either. Like we may have had, I don't know if Tex is on the front end of that.
That's true. I honestly don't know. Someone listening, look that up for us. Do our bidding. But no, it's God, almost a business quarter's worth of guests.
That's usually how we define things, is by business quarters. So that's
the only way I look at time.
Actually, since we didn't have a guest in episode 266, it's now episode 277. So it's been 10 we had 10 weeks of guests
10 weeks
straight. So that might be a new record,
Kaboom.
Hey, Water Speech, welcome back, pal. This is intimacy. This intimacy is what I'm here for. That's what I'm talking about, pal. I hope you're doing well, man. Hope that baby's doing well. In case you didn't know, Water Speech had a baby.
Does that really? The last time I played that for, who was on here? I played that.
It was Rob, and he started lactating as soon as he heard it.
He's just like, oh no, please don't, please God no.
He's like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that.
Puckered right up.
That'll do it. I don't miss those days at all. Not even a little bit.
You don't.
Now it's replaced with whining. So
which would you rather? Would you rather have this? Or would you rather have a 4-year-old throwing a complete and utter hissy fit tantrum?
I think probably the tantrum from the 4-year-old, because I can kind of reason with him. With a baby, it's like, what's wrong with you?
You don't know what
Tell
you want.
me, what's wrong with you? Why won't you communicate to me? And they just go, wah, and they just keep, doing stuff. There's no way to even remotely.
Legitimately inconsolable.
Yeah, you're just trying to figure out, are you hungry? Did you poop? Are you tired? What is it? And it's just, you just don't know. And that's what drives you mad.
Rob put it the best way when his daughter was just born. And I've never heard someone say it this way, but every parent I'm sure will know exactly what I'm talking about. When he said, he goes, it's wild watching her figure out how to be a human. Like everything that we take for granted that we just do, she's got to feel, what is this arm? What is this? I don't know what to do with this. And now it hurts. And I need to fart. I don't know what fart is, like,
there's a reason why when they're first born, like you swaddle them and stuff like that, because their hands, they don't understand what they're doing and they could actually hurt themselves. So it's like, you got to strap them down and they're like,
like a tiny drunk person.
Well, I mean, right now, Natalie came home and she's like, Dad, can you teach me how to do pluses? And I'm like, you mean addition? She goes, yeah. I'm like, we're doing math already?
Oh, God.
And she's like had this worksheet where it was doing addition. And I'm like trying to explain math to her. And I'm like, I don't even know how to, like last night, Jill and I were sitting around the table. And I was like, all right, 4 plus 4. If you have 4 of these and count them, like, what do you got? Cool. And it's just tonight I was trying to teach her how to, kind of like sneakily trying to teach her how to subtract. Because I was like, all right, if you have 15 and you go backwards, what is it? Because she knows 10 through 1 easy, no big deal.
Sure.
But I'm like, all right, now go 15. What comes next? She goes 16. I'm like, that's if you're going forward. I go, if you're going backwards. I was like, what is? She goes, all right, 15. What comes next? She goes 20. I'm like, no. I was trying to teach her to understand like what's what. It's one of those things where I'm like, Jesus, like I don't even the idea of trying to teach the concept of addition. Yeah. I don't even know. She's not even 5 yet. And they're like, hey, you gotta learn how to do this. I'm like, okay.
Which is awesome because if you look at it from like a school perspective, if they're starting them that young, what a head start, like that's invaluable. I get cold, like flop sweats when I think about trying to teach, like if I had a kid and they were like, I brought math homework home, I'd be like, well, this is where our relationship ends. I'll see you as soon as you get to like social studies.
Yeah, right.
You let me know.
We'll talk about history because we'll make up our own because that's what history is.
Right, exactly. We've got Facebook. We don't need social studies class. I'll show you some posts.
Jervis says, give me a brick. I'll solve both problems. Kids love bricks. D-Cocker84 says, the teacher in me loves this intro. I'm glad you love it. It's one of those things where I'm like, I'm happy. Like a part of me looks forward to the more complex stuff because I feel like I'll be better at that. Like trying to, explain some of those things, not more complex math, but more things like, like, Dad, what's economics? And I was like, now you're speaking my language. Let's talk about boats and why they're bad. Like, let's start there. First of all, never buy a boat. All right. It ain't worth it.
I used that today at work.
Nice.
Someone called me up and they slacked me about an issue one of the clients was having. They're like, hey, I need your advice. I go, oh, you want advice? Don't buy a boat. It's a depreciating asset. Let me tell you why a car is the same thing, but it can actually be. And I did this entire thing. And then as I blacked out and then came to, I was like, Doug would be happy with me right now.
I'm very proud of you.
Yeah.
Very, very proud of you. That's impressive.
They did not find it funny in the slightest, partially because the client was waiting on hold while I did this.
Even better. Even better. Even better.
Just wait till you get to the new math, though.
That's also something I'm not looking forward to because I'm going to look at her and be like, I can't help you. Right. Like, you're going to have to talk to your teacher because I don't understand how that works. I
would probably pull my kid out of school if that school decided to teach new math because new math is dumb.
You know what's wild? Like
here on Mind Gap.
What's wild is I'm thinking soon she's going to go to public school, which like part of me is like, wow, we're almost there. And I can be like, yay, I'll get a mortgage payment back per month, like for her daycare, which would be awesome. That money will go obviously cost something somewhere else as far as like her school and stuff like that.
Maybe a college fund. I don't know.
But I'm like, Jesus, to save, $1,700 a month would be a delight,
That's insanity, dude.
But at the same time, here's what I'll say. God damn, she's gotten a lot of good stuff out of school. You know what they did today?
I have no doubt.
You know what they did today? They went on a plane. They packed their bags. They went on a plane and they flew to Israel to learn about Hanukkah. Pretty cool.
I have many questions right now.
I don't think you should.
Okay.
She learned all about, Hanukkah and the menorah, and then she got to spin a dreidel and all that sort of stuff. And I was like, that's cool.
Really cool.
That's really cool. Yeah. So, her school is really good. She's learning a lot of cool stuff and stuff that I wouldn't even think to teach her. So I'd be like,
sure. I'm sure. Yeah.
Thank God. Yeah. So
thank God she's getting that.
Yeah. Right. New math pisses my daughter off so much, says Slutty. And she doesn't even know the opposite of it. So she doesn't even know what the alternative is. So there you go.
What real math is.
Yeah. What real math is. But anyway, man.
Yes.
Great stuff to talk about. We've got some real fun things. Starting with last Thursday, Marvel released a whole bunch of information on some new TV shows they got coming out.
Didn't they?
I mean, I think in general, Disney announced that they were going to be having, was it 10? Is it 10 shows or 10 movies or both? A mix of both.
I thought they said between movies and shows, it was 50 total new things.
Maybe that's what it was. Because I know it was like 10 Star Wars somethings, 10 Marvel somethings, and then other somethings as well, which I think is a pretty bold announcement.
That's a huge fucking slate to drop.
Yeah,
that is humongous.
And I got to hand it to him also, given the situation with the pandemic, like it makes sense to lean. I mean, they were already leaning heavy into Disney Plus. So now, especially on, after Warner was like, we're going to release all of our stuff to HBO Max. They're like, yeah, but we got cool stuff that we're going to show you guys, more than just movies. So, which I think is pretty cool.
So here's someone Jared just brought up. He goes, good luck watching all that. That does bring up an interesting point, because are you going to dive in? How are you going to parse out what you're going to watch?
Well,
because
for
starters,
me,
I feel this weight of needing to watch it all because I don't want to be left behind.
It depends. Like, because most of the Marvel stuff I'm probably going to check out because I'm curious. Like, I was the three things that really stood out to me were the Falcon and Winter Soldier trailer, which I think was really, really good. The Loki trailer just absolutely has me intrigued. The What If series looks great. Looks like phenomenal animation and just a fun way of thinking about stuff. And then the new trailer for WandaVision has me also intrigued as well. So those four for sure, I'm in for it. It sounds good. It looks good. It sounds good. If there's anything I'm gonna have like doubts about, I'll just probably kind of rely on word of mouth to see if it's any good. Because other than that, I'm not gonna unless it's something I'm super interested in. Like, oh, I got to go see this thing or whatever. Like, I'm probably not going to do it. Like most Star Wars stuff, I'm going to be like, Natalie, the other night was like, we ordered in and, she's like, can we watch TV and eat? And I'm like, yeah, sure. Why not? And she goes, we're watching Star Wars. And I feel like 6 years ago, I would have been like, that's my girl. Right. But now I'm like, all right, which one are we watching though? And she found Rise of Skywalker, and I was like, well, I haven't seen this since it came out, so let's give it a shot. And
how'd it go, Doug?
Not a good movie, man. Just not a good movie.
I like how Doug has gone from a Star Wars fanatic or super fan to a Star Wars nihilist.
Oh man, it was just.
Does any of this even matter?
All I saw when I watched that movie, I was like, "There's a missed opportunity. There's a missed opportunity. There's a missed opportunity." Like you're playing it safe. You're playing it safe. Like with the part where Chewie dies, and I'm like, "Man, how cool would that have been if he would have died? Like that would have been that would have had so much impact. Like there was an
emotional hammer that they dropped off.
It would have been so good. It was just everything was played safe, and it's just Then of course there's logistical things where I'm like, wait, what? From the whole like hyperspace skipping. I was light speed skipping, and I'm like, why didn't we know about this until now? Like we're just in the middle of a city, and then I'm like, okay, that's cool. And then you have these massive fleets of ships that the Emperor just pulls out of this ice planet, and it's like, who's piloting this shit, man? Like, where's the crew? And every single one of them has a planet-destroying weapon. I'm like, this is gonna sound so mean, but I'm like, what 10-year-old wrote this? You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, and then a bajillion spaceships come out of the ice. It's an ice planet, and they all have big old cannons on them, and they can all destroy planets. And it's like, what? It's like you also. Go ahead. I'm sorry. No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say,
take a break.
Let's take it from you need to take a.
I need to take a break.
A breath. Yeah, fan yourself a little bit. Just from a logistical standpoint, it's like, all right, so you're pulling these things forth from underneath the ice planet, right? So to your point, who's piloting them? Have these pilots all just been in a state of cryo, like stasis? Like, have they just been there and now they're thawed out and they're like, all right, thawed, ready to go? And then also, where would you find all the resources to build all of these giant star cruisers with planet destroying, things on it? That costs a lot of money. There's a lot of space units floating around there.
Not only that, I mean, there's got to be shipping manifests, right? Because you got to ship the parts, right? So there's got to be someone's got to be figuring out, hey, what's all this stuff going to? Remember how Bruce Wayne bought all those bat stuff in bulk so it didn't look suspicious. I mean, you know.
How many shell companies did this fake Palpatine have to set up? Like, Jesus Christ, the logistics of it are just a nightmare.
Yeah,
that's paperwork on paperwork.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Yeah, I think when I was just watching it, it also just felt like a giant retcon to anything that happened beforehand. It was just like, oh, yeah.
I need to go back and rewatch it because I was so wanting to be the defender of that movie and so thinking that people, you know, were just losing their minds over nothing. And the more space I've gotten with it, and the more I've thought on it and had more conversations, I'm very much in the wrong about trying to defend that movie.
No, because I think you were right to be like, all right, who's a butthurt fanboy? Who's a butthurt fanboy? Who is it? Is it you? Like, it's good. It's good to take that approach to it because a lot of nerds just get real bent out of shape over nothing most of the time, you know?
Well, the people who got like irate over it, those are the people who I will not admit I was wrong to. Like anyone who's irate over it, relax. All right. Yeah. This is life. Relax.
It's disappointing is what it was. It was just it was such a disappointing way to end that trilogy. Cause I had high hopes, man. I really, really did.
Yeah.
And it was really just disappointing to see it. Like all of a sudden you see all these ships show up at the end, you know, to fight. And it's like, and Lando's like, I'm here. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
But they didn't show up in the last movie. Why? You know, like what's the catalyst? I feel like there was some stuff that got left on the cutting room floor there. And I don't know.
Right.
There's just a lot of things where the thing I stand by that is great is the chemistry between Oscar Isaac, John Boyega, and Daisy Ridley. Like those three are phenomenal when they're just back and forth, just the banter between them. Yeah. It was amazing. Like it was really, really, really good. They do a really good job. And I think John Boyega does a phenomenal job too. Like just in general, his emotional reaction to things are really strong in the movie. But it's just, there's moments where, you know, it's just like, there's all these potential sacrifices that no one actually makes. Like, you know, John Boyega's like, I'm not going back with the drop ship. We got to take down this command ship. And they do. And they're just like holding on. And somehow the Millennium Falcon can just find him. Just Lando's like, I got this, and they just happen to hop under and they jump on the ship and then fly away. And it's like, wow, man, no risk and no sacrifice needed there. It's just like, it's just everything.
Love thinking about again the logistics behind when you have a ship that comes up underneath another ship and people are supposed to jump from ship to ship. Those things are, I think people underestimate how massive the Millennium Falcon actually is. Like in relation to the size of a human being, because it can fit many, many human beings on there and cargo and other things. It's a very large ship.
We've seen 6 people in that ship, you know,
easily. And like with space to spread out, you know, and so just to come under and to have them just jump, that ship has to be so uncomfortably close to the ship above it. And typically the gap that we see, if you really think about it, I'm like, that's a solid 30-foot drop that person's making. Their legs are shattered.
Yeah.
It's like straight up shattered. There's no way they're coming away from this.
Oh, yeah. And not that, but they just knew where to look for him on this crashing Star Cruiser. They're like, oh, I got him right there. You know, it's like, okay. Oh, D. Cochran 84 says
all the space debris and everything else like blowing up around. Like, no.
D. Cochran 84 says prequels were better. And that's his
shots fired.
You know, that's a worthy debate to have, and it won't be today. But I respect your opinions, but make me sad. Yeah, that show. So, and because of that, like I've been very lukewarm with The Mandalorian. Like it's been fine, although I did like the most recent episode because you know, I don't know if you're up with it, so I don't want to spoil anything. So.
No, I have not actually even started season 2 yet. It was one of those where I wanted to. I actually started episode 1 of season 2, and I was 45 seconds in, and I turned it off, and I stopped, and I go, I don't have the bandwidth for this right now. Like this is going to be another commitment, and I don't want to start it, and then 3 weeks from now be like, oh yeah, what was that storyline?
Yeah, exactly. I've just sort of like I've kept up with it, and it's been fine. I liked the most recent episode because they brought a character back from season 1, and I thought it was actually a pretty good episode. But I'm like, I don't know. I've been like, it's so funny because on one of the episodes, someone goes, wow, kudos to Mandalorian for making the one episode that you have to basically Wikipedia everything that happened in it. But then I also looked at it, I'm like, is this what it's like to watch a Marvel movie without watching all the other movies before it?
It's a fair question.
There's things that are like tying in that relate to the Star Wars Clone Wars animated show, the Rebels TV show that I haven't seen. So I'm like, there's these moments where people are like, ah! And I'm like, I don't get what it is. So
yeah,
I'm a buoy, I don't know what to say, but but anyway, that being said,
yes, Star Wars is a thing.
It's a thing.
Have things coming out.
Yes, but more importantly, the Marvel stuff's coming out, and the ones that I got most interested in, like I said, were the Falcon and Winter Soldier, Loki, What If, and WandaVision. Like I think they just look solid. Like they look like feature film quality, stuff. And I think the one I find most interesting is the Loki one.
Well, you've always been partial to that character, though.
Yes.
You've really found a connection with that character.
I find him interesting. He's well written, and then just it's kind of a neat alternate universe where in the past when they're trying to get the Tesseract and everything happens and Loki like disappears because he grabs the Tesseract. This then takes that moment and follows it. And where does it lead with Loki when he leaves that moment in that point in time? And it looks just very strange, very interesting. He gets, captured and then he's working for some organization. And I don't know, it looks very, very interesting. I'm very, very intrigued by it.
I think what I'm most excited about for these is that this is the first time we're seeing a blatant and unapologetic direct connection to the films.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Netflix series, the 4 series or the 5 series on Netflix, 6 series on Netflix. Yeah. They all said like, the big battle or the green guy. And they were loosely, talking about things that happened they had an awareness of it. And then you've got Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and all the subsequent shows from there who were directly tied in, but never, it felt like a second cousin, like we acknowledge that we're part of this universe, but we won't ever really be a part of this universe. And then these are like in the trailer for Loki, we open up with a direct scene from Endgame. And I'm like, okay, so we are finally fully in to the Marvel universe in television. And that to me, I think is the most exciting thing to see how they continue to glue all that together.
Yeah.
As far as the trailers go, Loki is interesting to me, but I get bugged when I can't pinpoint anything about the plot line of something, a movie or a TV show. And this was one of those where I watched it. I'm like, that's great. There's a lot of weird things and Loki has his trademark charisma, but outside of that, I don't know what I'm watching. And it was frustrating for me to watch that trailer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious, but I was frustrated.
Yeah, that seems to be more like a teaser because I have no idea when that's coming out. So it's more or less like, hey, dip your toes into like Loki's doing stuff and what's actually happening. We don't know. It's mysterious. And I appreciated that mystery. Same thing with like WandaVision.
Yeah.
It's like, what is that
even about?
It's like, how's Vision here? But what I love about both of the trailers for WandaVision is there's an ominous tone that sort of peeks its way in towards the end of both trailers. And the first trailer, it was, Vision's speaking to someone. He's like, are you okay? And she goes, oh, the woman like unfreezes. She goes, am I dead? He goes, why would you say that? She's like, because you are. And it's like, it's a very like, wait, what? And then with this one, there's a wonderful moment where, a woman says, Wanda, hey, how's it going? And Wanda goes, who are you? And then she goes, I don't know. And then she like turns real quick and then she's smiling again. Like, it's just like, you hear a voice saying, Wanda, what's going on? What's happening? I'm like, I don't know. There's something kind of interesting and strange going on
and
there.
They slowly fade in eerie music too. Like it starts with like Leave It to Beaver, happy music. And then slowly you get this really unsettling music bed to it too, which I thought was really brilliantly done.
Yeah. So that one definitely looks bizarre, but in a good way. Yeah. And obviously it's a love letter to former television, tropes and looks and feels and everything like that, which is pretty cool. So I'm definitely curious about that. I think I was least, and then of course, What If just looks amazing. Like just the animation looks phenomenal.
I love the fact that they're taking an animation route. Yeah.
Yeah. And it sounds like they got the exact same voice actors for all these roles. So Samuel L. Jackson's playing Nick Fury, and Haley Atwell is, doing, yes, her name. I can't remember her character's name. Agent Carter. There we go.
I knew you could do it.
But I was like, and that's such, because I know that's at first when I heard they were doing What If, I'm like, God, who cares? Like, let's go down, because I know there's a whole comic book series called What If. But I love the premise in that you're hearing these stories from the watcher, someone who's like, there's all these alternate timelines. It's like, what if Agent Carter became Captain Britain, Captain UK or whatever,
right?
And she took the superhero serum. It seems like what if Black Panther was captured by Yondu instead of Star-Lord, or what if it shows like Bucky fighting a zombie Captain America? I mean, it looks just interesting. It looks really well animated. I'm like, this looks really cool. So very again intriguing and nice sort of like short stories. It seems like these different universes, and Doctor Strange is fighting himself, which looks pretty cool.
I think the thing about Loki, the other thing about that trailer is it was one of the first times that a Marvel trailer seemed hokey to me, in the sense that that last line bothers the shit out of me. When it's him with like the snub horns, like the short horns, and like a pseudo version of his normal suit, and he's surrounded by people. So you just see the word Loki appear, and then it comes back to him and he goes, "What'd you expect?" And I'm like, what does that mean? You're just trying to force charisma in here?
Well, I feel like if you look closely, I think he's wearing a button that says Loki. It almost looks like he's running for president or something.
Right, and that's fine, but I'm just saying, like, that non sequitur, just, what'd you expect?
Yeah.
Or I'm like, it felt very ham-fisted. I'm like, you guys are really resting on your Marvel laurels at this point.
Well, I mean, part of it, I liked it because
that was me wrong. I don't know why.
That's fair. I think that's fair. And it's also an interesting line where he says, "Brother Heimdall, you better be ready," which is like,
right.
What does that mean? Like,
right. And then you see the Rainbow Road or the beam catch him. So I'm like, ooh, are we going back?
Yeah, it looks, again, like I appreciate the mystery behind it, because me, I hate something that's just completely told to you in a trailer. I'm like, cool.
Yes.
Now I don't need to watch it. So thank you for that. You piece
I
of
will,
shit.
and make no mistake, I will be watching that series. I'm very interested in it. I just had some griefs with the trailer, we'll say.
It's fair. I think Falcon and Winter Soldier looks phenomenal. It looks great. I love me some Captain America Winter Soldier. That's one of my favorite movies. And I love seeing, what happens after Cap, hands the mantle over, and what's that mean? I love the fact that
it doesn't.
Zemo is back as a villain. He's the perfect villain for this,
Right. It doesn't look like we see a lot of, at least in the trailer, a lot of shield work. Like, it looks like Falcon is holding on to his Falconness,
Yeah. Well,
so
it makes you wonder if they're sharing the mantle, between the two of them, or
didn't think of that.
I don't know.
At the end of the day, this one does feel like kind of the most sterile or straightforward. Like, it's not going to rock the boat, and like I don't think it'll keep you guessing. It seems pretty like, oh, what this one's going to be. It's going to be a lot of action. It's going to be espionage. We get this one. They're taking their chances with Wanda. They're taking their chances with Loki. What If is going to be kind of a cool alt concept. I feel like this one they're putting out there as their softball pitch. They're like, yep, this one's just going to be a hit. People will like it.
Yeah, you guys know what to expect, sort of stuff. And so I'd say of all those, least intrigued by that one, because it's pretty straightforward, and I'm I'm in it, but I'm still think it looks great. So I'm looking forward to it. I think that'll be really good. Kind of in other Marvel news too, just the Spider-Man 3 news just keeps coming, man. Like, if you guys aren't keeping up with it, I think there's at least 30,000 people that have been brought in to the production to play different parts. I think it's great. I mean, it sounds like they're doing Spider-Verse and Doctor Strange is obviously this is dealing with the multiverse, which is really cool because supposedly Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are back in.
Even though it's been vehemently denied by the filmmakers, like super, that's not gonna happen.
Yeah,
like,
Jamie Foxx coming back.
It is, right? Yeah.
You've got they just finally announced Willem Dafoe. I think it was noted that he was in talks to come back as Green Goblin.
Wasn't Kirsten Dunst too?
I think maybe Emma Stone, possibly. I don't know if that may have just been a rumor. Who else? I just keep hearing all these things. I'm like, this is gonna be wild. Like how to make this. I don't know
where they're gonna go. Like again, if it's gonna be
rumors.
Yeah.
Rumors that Tom Hardy may show up in it as Venom.
I'll say this: if Tom Hardy shows up as Venom, I'm gonna shit myself as I'm watching it. I will straight up just like as I'm watching it.
Just it's because if maybe that's the way they try to introduce Venom. Is that he's part of this other universe, or I don't know.
I love that character so much, and
there's a lot of ingredients. Did you ever watch the movie?
Yeah,
I did. There's a good movie in there somewhere. There really is.
Yes, but Sony had their hands on it.
Yeah,
and it was an unfortunate part.
It was buried in there. If you look closely, you're like, oh, I can see some semblance of there was something that was good. There was moments. Yeah. As my brother said, no one told Tom Hardy they were doing a bad movie because he went for it, man. Hardcore. He just was like
Tom Hardy does because he's a fucking boss.
I mean, think about his costume in that movie. He's in a sweaty sweatshirt and jeans like the whole movie. Like he doesn't have a ripped moment or anything. He just starts sweating a lot. He gets in a lobster tank at one point in time. Like he's just like gross and sweaty the whole time. I'm like, I respect that, it's very interesting. And then of course them shoehorning Carnage at the end of that movie. Did you watch where Woody Harrelson's like, it's gonna be Carnage. It's like, Jesus Christ, guys. Like, let's
Whoa.
Let's pull back here.
Yeah. Have a cup of coffee, sober up. We got it. We understand.
He's just his wild hair and he's like licking stuff. He's like, I'm a serial killer.
We get it. Yep. Totally.
Let me out. It's gonna be Carnage. It's like, you got it, guys. Do you get who he is? Jeez, Sony.
As we're holding our face from the black eye, they just gave us, we got it. Stop hitting us over the head with it.
It's going to be that guy. He's going to be that guy.
Oh, boy.
Got it.
The one thing, I mean, I know it's been talked about so much, but he went for it except for the accent. I feel like he was still workshopping it as they called action.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I'm not quite done with this yet, but we'll figure it out in the middle of it. Just let's roll.
Yeah. I'll go in and out, but we can just edit around that, right?
Right. We'll fix it in post.
We'll do voice modulator. It'll be fine.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, Spider-Man, I think the Spider-Man 3 is going to be fucking bonkers. Look, Jervis, again, I agree with Slotty in the chat. Don't you put that on us. He said, my guess is that it's all just cameos in the credits. I hope not. I hope they're not setting this up for Spider-Man 4.
Yeah.
There's part of me that hopes they don't like throw everyone in this one, but I would love to see them do a Spider-Verse, a live action Spider-Verse-esque thing where you do see all these people pop in. I mean, they got Doctor Strange. They've got to be able to do it.
Yeah, I think
writing is there.
I think some of these will be very much cameos within the movie, and I think some of them will obviously be main characters. Like, it almost seems like they're going to be pulling from all the universes to almost establish the Sinister Six. Because I know they've been talking about that for a long time.
Yeah.
They want to have all those villains in there at the same time. But yeah, I mean, I cannot wait for this Doctor Strange movie just because. I think that movie is going to be key to what we see in the next phase of Marvel movies.
I agree.
Because you're going to open up that window of there's all this other shit happening and what does that mean and how are they going to play it? And we've talked about how that could mean like that's how you introduce the X-Men and that's how you introduce
100%.
The next big bad evil guy. Like there's a lot going on there. It'll be really curious to see how they play it and what they end up doing with it. So I'm looking forward to it.
I will say this: leave it to Marvel to be able to fix a decade-long mistake that Sony made with having to reboot Spider-Man 3 times. Leave it to Marvel to figure out how to go, look, we'll figure out how to get to acknowledge everything that happened, apologize for it, and then move on.
Yeah.
Like, if they can do that, they will be gods to me.
Yeah, I mean, if they can make that work, like acknowledge it and then be like, cool, now let's bury it under the ground where it belongs and move forward with our stuff, you know, like it's a cool idea. I really like it.
They'll be able to do it. Yeah. But no, I agree. Like Strange, God, this can set up so many different things because we can bring the X-Men in from a different dimension and now they live in this universe because why haven't we heard of them yet? Well, now they're here. There's so many different possibilities and truly opening up that side of like interdimensional magic and stuff. There is an endless amount. You're legitimately you're cracking open the Marvel vault and you're saying now we have a doorway through which to bring any character we want.
Yeah. And I think it's funny because like after Endgame, I'm like, I'm good. I don't need any more Marvel stuff. I'm fine. But now, since it's been so long,
that wasn't gonna last.
I was because again, I'm still content. If this completely shits the bed after this, I'll be like, whatever, man. We had 11 years of fantastic content, so whatever.
23 tight movies.
Yeah, and I think, as I look at some of this other stuff, I'm like, you know what though, like, I'm curious just to see what they're gonna do and what they're gonna lay for the groundwork for what comes next. It'll be very, very interesting. Be really curious to see what they do.
Sorry, Jared made a really good point in the chat. He said, and they get to pick and choose which X-Men to bring rather than just having a world full of mutants. So probably the big three, Cyclops, Wolverine, and Jubilee.
Not the big three. I had to break it to you.
Yay, Jubilee.
To break it to you. That's not true.
I know. Cyclops isn't part of the big three. That's all right.
He's right. You're right.
Scott
It should be Magneto.
Right. Wolverine and Jubilee.
There you go. See, now we're in agreement. Yeah. At last we agree. We did it. Yay.
But what do you think about this this Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special?
To be honest with you, I don't know much about it. I just heard it was announced. So
samesies. I don't think they have anything other than the what's the word I'm looking for? The poster art for it.
Yeah.
I don't think they actually have anything outside of that. Guardians of the Galaxy, they have been able to get around all the negative thoughts that people had about, like, there were people like, this will never work. They've been able to circumvent all of that. Doing a holiday special, a Christmas special, whatever, I think they might be biting off a little bit more than they can chew. I'm a little worried they might be taking a real big swing on this one.
You know how I feel about Christmas, so I already have hesitations. So it's one of those things where I'm like, do we need it? Probably not. So.
Well, no, it's not. Probably not. We don't need this. It's just straight up for sure. We don't need it.
Let's be 100% honest. We don't need this.
This is nothing. No one is like, you know what my life depends on right now? Fuck the vaccine. I need this. No one is saying that.
No.
Maybe Tommy Lauren. I don't know.
Wow. Jermis has been very, very, very adamant about queuing up the song because 2 times now.
Stuff is stupid. Stuff is dumb. Doug hates stuff.
All right. We got it out of the way.
Yeah, he was like, with Star Wars, he's like, have we played it yet? Have we played it?
And then he uses 100 points to redeem the highlighting of Q Doug hates stuff.
He's like, notice me. Notice me.
We notice you and we love you, Jared.
Thank you,
You're
Jared.
A valued member of our audience.
Absolutely. You're a valued member of this team. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'll be curious to hear when they announce more about it to see what it is. I just think they're taking a big swing, and I think that this one might fall short. I can't see how they're going to make this good.
Yeah, I agree. So in other news, in the world of Twitch and other copyright stuff,
in the world of the U.S. government,
in the world, U.S. government, we have Senator Thom Tillis who wants streamers who violate the DMCA to go to jail. Let's unpack this shit. So, in case you all don't know, on Twitch over the last couple months, Twitch has come under serious fire from specifically like music copyright holders for the use of people, because oftentimes on Twitch, people will play games and they'll stream music on Spotify. Some people are straight up DJs. They'll DJ music live on Twitch. There was a great people play things like Rock Band and Guitar Hero and stuff like that. So the music that's being played, they've started to get a lot of heat saying like, you guys can't play our music without a license. And so Twitch has kind of brought the hammer down where if anyone is playing this stuff, they'll get like a warning, maybe. I don't know. The rules are very finicky. But more or less, people will get warnings and they have to like delete their video on demands. Like after they're done streaming, they have to delete the file because it has copywritten music on it. So this has been a pretty big uproar, and I've kind of watched it and listened because I'm always fascinated by copyright law and licenses, since I did dabble as a music investigator and music supervisor. So the concept of, I very much am a fan of copyrights because I believe in RV dead. No, I believe in making sure that if you're an artist or if you create something, it should be protected. You should own the rights to its distribution. You should be able to determine how it's used, and if someone wants to use it, they should be able to compensate you for it. So at its core, I believe in that. But what I don't like about this situation is I don't like that this asshat Thom Tillis is suggesting that people who violate this should go to federal prison. For doing this, which is absurd to me. Like, I get the reactions. Like, it was the whole thing with Napster, right? The RIAA came down like a monster on people. They're like doing punitive, settlements, saying you have to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars because you downloaded a song, because they wanted to make an example of those people so people would stop doing it. I think this is the same thing. They're trying to use a gross punishment to get people to stop doing this. Because also, side note, this guy is bankrolled by people like Comcast, AT&T. They've contributed to his super PAC. So obviously he's in the pocket of these large organizations. But it also, in this article, it talks about how this piece of legislation is also tacked on to a much larger bill, meaning that this bill has to pass. It's important. And so this guy's tacked it on. So people are suggesting that no one's going to go to war for Twitch streamers to not get this thing passed.
What did you actually go down the road of what the bill it got tacked on to?
No.
Okay. A federal omnibus bill.
Yeah.
Whatever that means. So already I'm bored. Regardless. I love when politicians do this. They'll take something that is important and they will throw it underneath a even bigger important issue. They'll throw a law that something that we need to address. They'll make a law that kind of goes against it. They'll throw it underneath a much larger umbrella of something that absolutely is going to pass, and then just by proxy this gets passed, and then people get shit on because it's not important for people to go to war over, like you said. In regards to this bigger thing. I think of course it's a chicken shit move. If he really wanted to take this and debate it, I think there is a healthy debate to be had. I think people could definitely, you could bring in artist unions, you could bring in, developers, and you could bring in a lot of people from multiple industries and have a real healthy discussion about how to approach this. But this guy just acts like a piece of chicken shit and just throws it onto a bill that he knows will pass. Like that, to me, that's the coward's way out.
Yeah.
That means that you don't know what the fuck this is actually about. Your lobbyists wanted you to do something about this, and you figured out an easy fix so that you can start pocketing more money.
Yeah. Because I get the fact that something needs to be done on Twitch with the music use, because I've said this multiple times, but even in Twitch's like for a while, they encourage people to play music and say, hey, don't forget to use Spotify. Here's the Spotify extension. And people had bots that people could load in so people could request music to be played on the stream, and they could use points to request songs on the stream and all sorts of stuff like that. And I'm like, yeah, you can't do that. Like, that's not something you can do without permission. And what's also crazy is on top of this, some video games that people are streaming also have soundtracks, and those are also getting pulled, or they're getting flagged because of the music that's being used in them. And what's kind of wild about it too is that music hasn't been cleared for this use in its current form, because you can purchase a game, play it on your home system or whatever, and that's fine. No problem. But the second you're playing the game, broadcasting it, it changes things, because technically that license is most likely not covered in that. So it's along the same lines of, you know, we've talked about how some TV shows, either you haven't seen them on DVD, like Married with Children, because the music license for that was purely done for TV and not for the DVD or other extended uses, so you don't see it. And when they went back to negotiate, people were like, we can't pay for that. Or if you watch Scrubs, the Scrubs music has changed as it goes on to DVDs, because they only cleared the music for TV, not for DVD. So similar here, no one was like, cool, when I make this game, I better make sure it can be broadcast, because people are like, what? That doesn't make sense.
Now moving forward, that's definitely something that's going to be thought of. You know, they're definitely again, when the streaming industry or people making a career out of streaming video games, it was so new, as a lot of these games were it's still so new, and a lot of these games being developed, and a lot of the old games that people are going back and playing, no one ever considered negotiating this as part of any sort of deals or contracts. But moving forward, obviously they're going to have to start, because this side of the industry is not going to go away. No. The streaming side of the industry is far too lucrative. There's far too many people involved and invested in it. It's never going to go away, at least not for anywhere near the foreseeable future. Yeah. So this is something the industry is going to have to figure out how to handle. Mm-hmm. And you can 100% bet that there's going to be counter legislation, and there's going to be people are going to fight this. But what's going to suck in the short term is that it's going to go into law. Like, these huge penalties are going to go into law much quicker than they can be repealed. And that's going to cause some major pain for a while.
Well, I think what's also interesting about this is just that, like you said, no one was really prepared for it. And this is great, I think, in general for a lot of video games, because you get to see players playing the game. It generates interest. Yeah. Slotty is a case in point for this. He just recently purchased the game Hades. He watched our fellow streamer Fancy Ramen playing it. He's like, man, this game looks really cool. I think I'm going to buy it. I've done that. I've purchased a game because I watched someone streaming it, and I'm like, I'm like, cool. This looks great. This looks like a perfect game for me. I'm gonna buy this. And not only that, but games like Among Us have exploded because of streaming. Like,
oh my God, yeah.
And it's allowed. Jackbox games has flourished in the streaming world because everyone can get together and play Jackbox games. Absolutely. By the way, we played that last Saturday, and it was a real hoot. Thank you for coming, Justin. I realized we didn't do a full intro, and that's totally cool. Whatever. We're midway through the podcast. It's all good.
Let's start it again.
Start it over. So it's interesting to me that there will be a way to fix this, and I think people are going to work to do it. What I don't like is some asshat who's just trying to throw down. I don't like it when people who don't understand shit try to legislate it. Like, that's the stuff I don't like. Like this you guys better get the rights to Doug Hates stuff before Jervis does first and charges you every time you use it.
It would be an honor if someone wanted something of ours that badly. Hey
man, I'm telling you, I've heard it. At least 5 people have said, hey, where can I download that? So I mean, there is this kind of a demand. You know where you won't find it? You know where you won't find it is teespring.com, because fuck that place. Anyway,
we'll go into that more later.
Yeah, another time. Doug fucking hates that stuff, that's for sure. I should
Stuff is stupid, stuff is dumb. Doug hates stuff.
Jervis says I should copyright "Fuck Me, Slotty." Yeah, you should.
Fuck me, Slutty.
You should.
You absolutely should. But it's one of those things where I don't like people who don't understand stuff trying to legislate it, because
Right.
in what universe does it make sense to give someone federal jail time
Right.
because they played a song that they didn't get a license for? Like that, at worst, it's a fine. You know what I mean? Like it's not jail time worthy stuff. That's insane to me. It's absolutely insane. Like I don't get it, and I hate it. And at the same time too, like I also am angry at Twitch, because Twitch obviously knew there was the problem here and they did nothing to fix it. So
I'll say this. According to the Vera Institute of Justice, incarceration costs an average of more than $31,000 per inmate per year nationwide. In some states, it's as much as $60,000 per inmate per year. And we're going to make the taxpayer pay that money because someone decided to play Party in the USA on their fucking Twitch stream.
right. You know?
Thank you, Thom Tillis, for being a cunt.
Yeah, seriously. Like it's like, don't we have better things to worry about?
Right. That's ridiculous. That is fucking ridiculous.
Fucking nonsense.
Someone brought up too that he probably is in the pocket of some, or he either owns or is partners with someone who owns a privatized prison. And they're like, well, if we're legalizing all this weed, we need to somehow get our, prison populations back up, or still to find a pipeline to feed these prisons. And so why not just figure out, well, there's a lot of people in this thing. Let's make something illegal that they do.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah. Cause again, I want to be clear here that, Justin and I have done multiple podcasts on piracy, and, we've had multiple debates off mic about it, and, for me, I'm staunchly against it, because I always put myself in the other person's shoes. Like, what if something you created just got hijacked
Absolutely.
and used and spread around and pirated, and you don't get any compensation for something that you put so much hard work into? Like, that sucks. So I definitely understand that this sort of stuff needs to be taken seriously. Agreements need to be taken. On the other hand, though, like, I'm also like, let's find an amicable solution to this. These people who are playing music on Twitch, the people who own the copyrights, they should be compensated. So let's start there. Let's figure out a method of payment, but at the same time too, you also have to consider like some of the funny clips that have come out of this. Like Slotty shared one where it was a guy playing Guitar Hero, and he was just going, as he was playing, he had the sound music muted, so he's just going with his mouth as he's playing, because he's like, this is what this does to my stream now. Or someone else was playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and he's like doing all the sound effects himself. He's like making up a song. He's like, we're in a boat and we're going to stream. And he's like making the noises like splash, splash as they're rowing. He's like, this is what's resorted to, because I don't know what's safe to stream. Right. I don't know whether or not I'm going to get flagged. So,
And I agree that like the artists need to be compensated. It's someone worked hard to create that thing that you're using for free now. And I would say in 98% of all cases, I agree that piracy is bad. And I definitely think that we should have things protecting from piracy, but I think federal prison time is a mighty overreach. I think that is you might have overcompensated. I don't know what to tell you there, but some people in the chat also brought up why, since Twitch is owned by Amazon, why doesn't Amazon take their massive music library, figure out a way to, get some deal integrated into that, contract and allow, if it's available on Amazon Music, it's available on Twitch or some subsection of Amazon Music. There's 60,000 songs are available for Twitch, maybe a specific set of songs, or artists can opt in and say, if you're on Amazon Music, you can do this, Well,
what about watch parties now? Are those even possible?
That's but aren't watch parties are they privatized? Like they're not broadcast like Twitch, right?
No, you can do, like, there's an extension where you can do a watch party through Amazon Prime and pull up any Prime movie.
I have to assume that's out the door now, right?
Like, what does that mean as you're watching a movie that has a soundtrack to it? Like, do you get flagged for that? I mean,
you better finish that movie before those black sedans roll up.
I mean, I'd say, to be fair, the live stuff, because that's the thing is, like, you get warnings for things that are like, I don't fully understand this, but the idea is that if you and I are doing something right now, and we played a song, we'd obviously play it live. They can't say, "Oh, we're on a 10-second delay. Go back and bleep it out or whatever."
Right.
But when this is done and the video on demand is available, we'd have to immediately delete the video on demand, which I would assume you would want to do anyway if you were doing a watch party. Or how many people would go back and go, "I'm going to watch this watch party of this movie," you know?
I can't imagine many.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe people will be like, "Oh, I wanted to hear Doug and Justin's commentary on all this," you know?
I mean, look, our commentary is gold.
It is.
I still say that if someone wanted to go back and re-listen, they have issues.
Yeah, right. So I don't know, but that's just other things.
It opens up a lot of it opens up a lot of gray area. Look, I'm sure all of this is covered in this bill that's being passed, so we'll soon find out. There's going to be plenty of you can count on plenty of articles being released, going over it, talking about what is and is not allowed, what to expect, what to stay away from, et cetera, et cetera. This is just the tip of the iceberg. We're in for a long bit of news on this one. Without a doubt. So
tune in next week when we have this resolved.
As I say that, like I know something about it, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, this was taken off the table.
You know,
you're welcome. There is one thing that always gets brought up on Twitch that no matter how many times people try to get around it, it gets flagged. Every single time someone other than us tries to do this, it gets flagged. Do you know what I'm talking about, Doug?
I think I do, but refresh my memory.
Welcome to the Throwdown.
Oh, yeah. We're in it to win it now, baby.
Yes, we are in it to win it.
Oh, man.
That really
I rocked my voice on that one.
Really got your chords there, my friend. You got to keep them lubed up.
It's dry in here. It's very dry.
It's so dry.
It's so dry.
It's just like it's dry. It's like the Sahara in here.
It's like the Sahara in here.
The Sahara.
This week's Throwdown. Douglas, are you ready?
You know I'm ready, boy.
Oh, shit.
This week's Throwdown is the Falcon versus the Winter Soldier.
So, back to the old Marvel debate that we were talking about. Falcon versus Winter Soldier. Apparently, we've done Winter Soldier a few times. Falcon has never appeared in our Throwdowns, so this should be a fun one.
Yes.
Right out of the gate, I'm giving it to Winter Soldier.
Cool.
That's where my intuition says that it should go. I feel like I've seen Winter Soldier go toe to toe and take down Captain America, and really give maybe not full takedown, but made him hurt. I have not seen the Falcon get anywhere near that. I've seen the Falcon.
We've seen the Winter Soldier take down the Falcon.
Well, that's true, isn't it? In Civil War?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, they fought together in the. What are you talking about?
No, I mean in Winter Soldier, Captain America, Winter Soldier. We watched.
Shit, no, on the helicarrier. Yeah, he does take. He literally takes him down. Yeah,
yeah. Even though he's got double SMGs firing at him, he's still rips his wings off.
He puts his single arm in front of him and blocks bullets somehow.
Yeah, that's one thing where I'm like,
on that.
I'm like, okay, guys. He's like, ha ha. I'm like, it's like how Wonder Woman goes, I've got my bracers. I'm like, and the rest of your body is available to be shot. Is
Swiss cheese now. It's riddled with bullet holes.
As you're wearing a skirt to a gunfight. So, it's as opposed to armor, but that's a same debate for another time.
That is a debate for another time. The Winter Soldier, Falcon's got two Uzis. He's double wielding Uzis. And Winter Soldier just goes, ha ha, done.
Yeah. Well,
that's his voice.
He flips out of the way. You know,
It's right. He does a flippy woo in between the bullets.
And then he goes, a little grappling hook, grabs it, rips off the wing, and then like kicks him off. And then
the thing is, without Falcon's wings, Falcon is pretty SOL, right?
Yeah.
So Slotty says, what about if Falcon had the cap shield? Unfortunately, we really haven't seen Falcon do much with that yet. So
I know he's like that in the comics. He does exist in the comics where he has cap shield and he becomes a new Captain America.
In the comics, does he take the super soldier serum?
I don't know. Because again, I'm like, that's almost like Robin from The Dark Knight Rises being like, you're Batman now. I'm like, you don't have the training.
Right. I'm just like, I'm like, great, you have that, but like, do you know how to properly wield that shield? And do you have the strength to throw it like he does?
Do you have the reflexes to be able to,
Right. There's a lot of stuff
of
that we're not taking into account here, but I don't know. Giving him cap shield. Sure. I guess that can shield him from stuff and maybe absorb some punches Bucky throws his way. But still, I think Bucky's the superior fighter.
I love it. Cap shield seems like it could help, but that takes a hand away from one of his Uzis. It's very true.
That's very true too. Yeah.
And I think we've seen that, Bucky is masterful in hand-to-hand combat. Like, again, he goes toe-to-toe with Cap pretty significantly. So
he puts the hurt on him.
Yeah, I mean, he goes toe-to-toe with Black Panther. He's done... So his hand-to-hand combat's pretty exceptional. Also, he's great with, guns, explosives, knives, Now, Falcon definitely has some training. He was in the military, so he can handle himself, but we haven't seen him handle himself to the extent that, the Winter Soldier has. Winter Soldier is... Falcon has his little Falcon. It's called Red Wing. Jesus Christ, Jervis, read a goddamn book for once in your life.
Shots fired.
We love you, buddy. Go Ruse.
But yes. Did you just say go Ruse?
Yeah, go Ruse. I'm sure it's a mascot for something.
That's gotta be.
Jervis says, make me read a book. Yeah. Go ahead. I think we're going to say the same thing.
We are in full violent agreement with each other on this one.
Violent agreement. I love it.
Yeah. Winter Soldier.
Yeah. Pretty straightforward on that one.
Yeah. That was not a tough one. Now, here's the thing. Once the show comes out and we see a little bit more, who knows? Maybe we'll see something out of Falcon that we didn't know he was capable of, and that could skew this, or sway us back. We'll have to see. Time will tell.
I do like that Sly says, what if the Falcon just picks him up and drops him from 1,000 feet? Okay, first of all, this isn't Dungeons and Dragons. Second of all, you're telling me that the Winter Soldier with a metal arm is not going to be able to break a grip of an average man? I think he's going to be okay.
Yeah, we've also seen him. We've also seen him take a fall from quite a height and be okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm gonna say that's a stretch,
not 1,000 feet, but yeah.
Yeah, it's a stretch. So yeah, that's that.
Yeah, we got it, guys.
Das is, I think is what they say.
What if Falcon just whispers to him, "Cap is alive,"
and then he stabs him in the throat. Ta-da.
Ta-da.
So yeah, that was good stuff, man.
That's all I got.
It's a good chat. It was a good chat. We got some cool stuff to chat about that we didn't get to this time, but I'm looking forward to it.
Oh yeah, no, we've got a nice roster of topics that we're gonna be able to dive into next.
We're gonna get into it for sure. Sure.
Oh yeah.
Justin, what do you have to recommend this week?
Not much. I'm still watching The West Wing. Good show. New Girl every once in a while. Good show.
Getting caught up on JAG,
Yeah, exactly. NCIS, all of them. Old TV shows. Go
Water Speech is like, what's happening with Teespring? I'll tell you, man. I'll let you know. Maybe we'll save that for a topic for next time because they fucking suck. That's what it is. But anyway.
You don't want me to have to play the Doug Hates Stuff thing one more time. It will happen if we get him in.
We play it 3 times, we get taken down by Twitch.
That's true.
So,
But yeah, I would say West Wing and New Girl, real timely.
Yeah, good stuff.
Take a watch. What do you got, Douglas?
I would say this. This is a genuine recommendation to anyone out there who dares to imagine. I would say try some Dungeons and Dragons, y'all. Try some Dungeons and Dragons. I've been playing for over a year now, and I've been DMing for the last couple of months, and it's been one of the most fun things I've ever done. I enjoy it so much. I get so much creative pleasure out of writing plots and watching them not get used as these guys do wild and crazy shit, or they roll really well and all of a sudden I'm like, well, that's out the window. Let's see where this goes next. And it's so much fun. It's absolutely delightful. I love it. So I would just say, look into it. If you're curious, reach out to me. I'm still a novice at it, but I mean, seriously, it's so much fun, and you're missing out if you're not playing. That's all I'm going to say.
That's all you can say.
Yeah, right. On top of that, don't forget to check out our video game live stream. We did Jackbox games last Saturday and
It was pretty fun.
Dude, I left that after 2 hours exhausted from laughing. We had such a good time just doing silly shit. And for the record, I am going to try and pull the highlight from where Adam Smeestad, who joined us, which was awesome. So glad to see him there. We were doing a game, I think it's called Talking Points, where essentially you have to improvise a slideshow. And Adams was all about loving a horse. And it was phenomenal. It was absolutely wonderful and so much fun. So we'll be doing Jackbox again in the near future. So if you're free, we're doing that. Definitely come hang out because you can play along with us, which is great. I'm thinking
and
this
try to
Saturday.
take down the champ, because I'd like to say that I came in for 2 games and I wiped the floor on both games.
Both games, he just beat some ass. Justin won that game by a landslide, and then we did Champed Up, which is a drawing game.
Yeah,
that got real weird and real fun. So
that got real weird.
Yeah, it always. It always is. That one was super duper interesting to see what people drew, and did not disappoint, to say the least.
No.
But I'll also say I think there's no better way to celebrate Christmas holiday that's approaching us than playing Left 4 Dead 2. So this Saturday at 8 p.m. Central Time, I'm going to be crewing up with some folks, with some fans of the podcast, and we're going to be playing, just shooting some zombies and shooting each other and eating each other's brains. It's going to be real great. I'm looking forward to it. So this Saturday,
the holidays are all about.
8 p.m. Central, twitch.tv/MindGapPodcast. Also, don't forget just to come by, drop us a follow. It means a lot. We're just so close to hitting 100 followers. It'd be great if you followed us and hang out with us there. And Justin, I just want to let you know, I put it out there. It wasn't super well received, but I said, guys, what we should do sometime is we should play some Team Fortress 2. You guys don't know this,
agree with that.
but Justin doesn't play a lot of games, but that was one of the games that he and I played together, Team Fortress 2. We had ourselves a real good time.
That was the first game that you and I ever played together.
And
that might be the game that I logged the most hours on, because it was a bunch of fun. Unfortunately, I don't think I can play that game anymore because Max and Steam don't like each other.
Yeah. Oh, Slotty goes, okay, if Justin plays, I'm in.
I'll figure out. If we do TF2, I'll figure out a way to make it happen.
Oh my God, that'd be amazing if we could. Because I'm not even sure how it would work, but I'd fucking figure it out. I'd figure out where we could have our own private spot and we'd all just play with each other. It'd be really, really fun.
That would be absolute bonkers.
Yeah,
it'd be great. So much fun. I haven't opened that game in so long. I remember we used to do the Halloween shit. We'd get on there and try to. Oh my God, it was so much fun.
Oh, I remember you'd be like, hey, I got 30 minutes. You want to meet me in the fortress? And I would just drop everything I was doing.
You would. When Justin, again, does not play a lot of video games. So when Justin would call Doug, it'd say, hey, you want to meet me in the fortress? Within seconds, I would get a text back. I'll be there in 5 minutes.
Yeah. This is a big deal. Just like, where are you going? I'm like, Justin only has 30 minutes. I gotta go play. And I'd run up to my lair and I'd like booting it up. I'm like, I'm here. Are you here? Where are you? Let's do this. Like, let's make the most of this, man.
Yeah.
Because I understand, like, for me, playing games, I could do it for a long time. I can do it for many, many hours. For you, not the case. You put in your time, you're like, I'm good to go. And you do something productive with your life. I, on the other hand, I'm like, let's keep this going.
New Girl in West Wing. Don't say I do productive things.
Productivity. So that would be pretty fun. I think it'd be cool just to, try some stuff out. And I've made, just like Jervis just said, I've made a commitment to play Fortnite.
Really?
With Jervis. He made a good point. He's like, look, I'm not good at Left 4 Dead 2, but I come play that. So I think you should come play Fortnite. I'm like, so much of me, the Doug hate stuff plays in my mind whenever I hear Fortnite, but I think it would be good of me to do that. I will be a terrible teammate. I will not be good. I barely understand how the game functions, but I will put in an effort. I will download it and I will play some Fortnite. So
I'm going to ask an honest question.
Yeah.
What does he have on you that you don't want him to let out?
Guilt. He just makes you feel guilty.
He's got something on you.
Like,
I know.
I play Left 4 Dead 2 and I'm not good at it. If you're worried about not being good, well, just come play this. I'm like, all right, that's fair. And plus, I'm like, you know what? It might be fun. Who knows? I don't know if it would be fun to watch me play a game and be shitty at it, but who knows? It could be interesting.
Oh, I think it'd be endless fun. Yeah.
We'll see. I mean, I don't know. I watched Jervis and Wolfslore play the other day, so it was very fun to watch that. So.
Can I just request that you guys play in some sort of a public server, and I just want to hear you get trolled by 13-year-old kids. I think to me that would be the most fun to watch. Just to see you have to
voice chat.
Interact with them.
I don't think there's voice chat between strangers in that game, probably for good reason. So that's
probably for great reason. Yeah,
trash talking. But anywho, gang, be sure to check us out on all our social medias at MindGap Podcast. Don't forget to check us out on YouTube, MindGap Podcast there. Drop us a like and a subscribe. Follow us on Twitch, man, twitch.tv/MindGap Podcast, so you can watch us record live on Twitch, interact with us while we're doing the show. Check us out on Saturdays at 8 p.m. Central for our video game live streams. We do something every week for 2 hours from 8 to 10. Hang out, we have a good time. And also, join our Discord community. Like, we picked up a new person recently. A Metronome is his name. A friend of Jared's, and he's a great addition to the community. And basically, if you don't know what Discord is, it's essentially the new age forum. It's a private server where people can chat. We share memes. We share cooking recipes. We just, we set up game times to do fun stuff. Our buddy Noah put together a one-shot called Enter the Gungeon. It was based on Call of Cthulhu. We did all that through there. So come hang out with us. It's great. We're very active. We shoot the shit a lot of times. So if you want to know how to join it, come to twitch.tv/MindGap Podcast. Down below are some little tiles. There's one that says Discord. Just click on the link there. It'll take you right on over. You can come hang out with us, shoot the shit with us. It's a real great time. So.
I don't hop in that often, but when I do, and I just, again, it's not a huge time commitment. You can just jump in, scroll through, and see random things that you missed or whatever. There is some really fucking entertaining shit that people post in there. So I do have to say, for anyone who's like, I don't know about this, it's not a commitment. You can just jump in and take a look at some funny shit and then jump right back out.
Exactly. If you're like, I'm not on Discord ever, it's like, that's cool. But if you want to hop in and you want to, see what we're up to, or you're like, hey, you know what'd be great is if we played this game, fucking join the Looking for Group channel and within there and type some shit out. We'll put something together. We'll have a good time. I have to say that I'm so happy with this community because I have a group of people to play games with. And I haven't had that, I don't think, ever in my life, other than in college when I would play Counter-Strike. First couple of years I was in college. So it's so nice. It's refreshing to be able to play games with good people that I know. And it's been absolutely awesome. So thank you to our community. And if this sounds like something you'd like to do, come join us. Come hang out with us. We'd love to have you be there. That being said, also check Justin out online as well.
That's right, on Instagram and Twitter at Justin.
I was like, Spotify.
What's
I was like, that's my cue.
And on Instagram and Twitter. And you know what? On Spotify too, at Justin_Michael, spelled Mikel. It's the fun way of spelling it. And while you're in the online realm, check us out on
Spotify
and Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Stitcher, all the different places, Podbean, all the places you can find and consume the old podcasts. And we'd like you to subscribe to us, share us around, rate us, review us, all those things. The big one is sharing. You sharing our podcast goes a long way, and it means very much to us. So if you could do that, we'd be appreciative. And then 2east8th.com/mindgap. And then just keep an eye on all 2 East 8th's social media stuffs. And that's all I got.
Awesome. This was such a fun time, man. It was great. It's great just you and me tonight. Getting
an old school hang, and I appreciated it.
Yeah, and I also appreciate you, Justin.
And Doug, I can't even begin to express my appreciation I feel for you.
And my gratitude is an endless well that is for you, the Twitch folks.
And the gratitude in me bubbles up and shoots out and sprays all over all the listeners, covers them. Thank you,
And
listeners.
With that, all I want to say is just
have a dandy fucking week!
Mind Gap Podcast.